When it comes to pop-up forms, everybody gets this stuff wrong. My name's Gavin, I run an email and SMS marketing agency, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to figure out what offer you want to include in your pop-up form to not only maximize the list growth, but to actually maximize the total revenue that your pop-ups are bringing you. So I'm going to quickly give you an example of two different offers that we're going to be running within a pop-up form, and I'm going to show you what things need to be considered when you are figuring out if you want to do, say, 25% off or 10% off or $10 off or gift with purchase, all that kind of stuff. Okay? I'm going to illustrate it through the use of two different offers. So we're going to assume that this dummy store is getting traffic of 10,000 people every single month, unique visitors every single month. And we're going to assume that we're running two different offers. Now we're making some assumptions here in this example that I'm going to give you here, but we are using that to illustrate the things that you need to consider when you're building out your offers in your pop-up forms. So we're going to assume that in January, dummy store got 10,000 visitors, and we were running two different offers in our pop-up forms, one for $10 off and one for 10% off. Okay? Now, the $10 off got a subscription rate of 4%, and the 10% off got a subscription rate, so people who saw the form and converted to becoming subscribers, of 3%. If we stop right there, we would assume that the $10 off offer is the better form, right? Because that's getting more subscribers. But we're not digging deep enough. We're not looking at the subscription to conversion rate and the AOV of the orders that are taking place. So let's go a little bit further. $10 off and 10% off. $10 off did 4%, which means we grew the list in the month of January by 350 people. 10% off, we had a subscription rate of 3%, which means we grew the list by 300 people compared to 350 people in January. If we stop there once again, we would think that the $10 off is the better pop-up form to run and the better offer, but we still need to dig deeper. Subscription to conversion rate, which is how many people subscribe to then becoming a customer. Okay? For $10 off, we're going to assume that it's 22.5%. Okay? And we're going to assume that for 10% off, it's 30%. Now, I'm making an assumption here to illustrate the considerations you need to have when you are creating your pop-up forms. So now that we have a subscription to conversion rate, roughly 22.5% of people who subscribed to the newsletter became customers. So 78.75 people became a customer off of the $10 off offer. For the 10% offer, 30% of people became customers, which means 90 people became customers. So 30% of 300 is 90. Now, we look at the AOV. We're going to assume that the AOV for $10 off is less than the AOV for 10% off. And the reason I say this is because I can pretty confidently say that 10% off and percentage off discounts tend to perform better than dollar off discounts when you're running them in a sign-up form, because percentage off encourages spend more, save more. $10 off, you get the same discount regardless of how much you spend. So the incentive, or rather the better incentive in my experience, is percentage offs because it increases the AOV. Does compromise a little bit more margin, but you make up for it with the increased AOV. So we're going to assume that the AOV for the first purchase for $10 off is $90. And we're going to assume that it's $105 for 10% off. So all of a sudden, the total revenue that 10% off form is driving is $90, right? Multiplied by the amount of customers we have. So 90 times 78.75 is $7,087.50. Oh my God. And then the other offer, 10% off, is $9,450. So all of a sudden, the actual better form for us to run from a purely revenue perspective, which as a business is what you should be focusing on, is the 10% off offer, not the $10 off offer. The $10 off offer grows your list quicker, sure, but the 10% off grows your business quicker. And that's the consideration you need to be factoring in when you're creating offers in your sign-up forms. This is core. This is super, super important to figure out. Now, unfortunately, within Klaviyo, you can't actually use that. Like, Klaviyo doesn't have the functionality to let you dive deep into this stuff, but the tool that does is a tool called Formtoro. Highly recommend you check this form out because this stuff is a game changer. For example, with this tool here, this is data from a sign-up form that we're running. We can see the first-time customer revenue, the subscription to conversion rate, which was, so in this case, 24.82%. We used 22.5 and 30% as indicators. And we can also see the AOV of total orders, the AOV of first-time orders, which is 126.6 in this case. And in this case, we just left it as 105.6. We can see all that data. And this is the data you need to do, or rather use, to actually become, that if you're a good email marketer, or if you're serious about using email as like a strategy for your business, these are the tools that you need to start using. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to give you some assistance if you do need help with some of this stuff, or even if it's down to like simple offer creation, I can definitely help you dial that in. Once again, subscribe to the newsletter down in the footer section down below of this YouTube video, and there's a bunch of other cool resources I probably have down there too. Thanks for watching. Bye.